calling in sick.
He's a joke, man. Who do you think he is? Like, just back from Holland, he's calling in sick. That stinks.
Unbelievable. You're getting docked for that. Welcome to A Few Good Fights. I'm your host, Robert Palin, joined by Sean Taylor. This week we're going to talk about UFC Sacramento. Urijah Faber made a successful return, and Germaine De Randamie got a huge win over Aspen Ladd, which was quite controversial. We're going to dig into that card. We're also going to talk a bit about Bellator, which went down. A few Irish lads fought. And we're also going to be talking about this weekend's card, which is a pretty decent card, I think. It's headlined by Rafael dos Anjos against Leon Edwards. And we're going to talk about that full card, break it down. Plus, Jorge Masvidal calls for Conor McGregor. Do we like it? Let's chat about it. UFC Sacramento went down last weekend on Saturday, and it saw Germaine De Randamie get a controversial win over Aspen Ladd. It seems like she can't really catch a break. Partially her fault at times, I think, with this whole cyborg situation. I don't think she handled that well. But this one, she wasn't really helped by the referee in terms of, you know, how people reacted to the finish. I think a lot of people had problems with the finish, so we're going to start there. What was your thoughts on De Randamie's finish over Aspen Ladd?
Thought the finish was good. I mean, she caught her nice.
It was a nice finish, yeah.
But
was it a finish?
It's an early stoppage for me. Aspen Ladd was moving, like she was moving to defend herself. I don't even think she got a chance to defend herself because Helb stepped in. Helb's had a few dodgy ones lately. We were saying this off air. Helb's had a few dodgy ones, especially for a guy, you know, who's talked as one of the guys. So that's interesting. I would be interested to hear a referee's thoughts on it. I know Dan Mulvahedi might be interested.
Next week.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear his thoughts on it because it looked very early to me. She was moving, she looked with it. She was definitely stunned, but she looked very much with it. Yeah. All the same. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel very much the same. Like, it feels like one of them ones where potentially it could have been over anyway. You know, if she landed one or two more shots. I generally prefer early-ish stoppages than late ones.
I am the same. I generally am okay with an early stoppage, but that one seemed particularly early to me. So yeah, like, she seemed all there. I would have liked it to go a little bit further. It's a little bit rough for Aspen Ladd. You know, it's her first pro loss. Step up as well in competition.
Went really quickly. I wonder how the weight cut affected her. Like, it was a great shot, but I do wonder how the weight cut affected her. Hopefully it's fine. But man, that weight cut was terrible. We'll talk about that in a minute, because I think that was a big point. And just weight cuts in general, because we have a bit of one championship news about weight cuts later. But yeah, it's now interesting to see where Germaine De Randamie goes, because, like, if you just look at her record, it's very impressive. Yeah.
And a lot of the controversies around that she has in her career as well, a lot of them aren't really her fault. The cyborg stuff, you know, that's on her. Yeah. But I mean, the decision over Holly, this stoppage, they're totally out of her control. Yeah.
The only thing with the Holly one was, like, you know, there was like a late punch.
There was the late kicks at, or the late
whatever
punches,
it was, after the bell. But yeah, like, I mean, the only person she's lost to in the UFC is Amanda Nunes. The only other person she's lost to in MMA, apart from her first loss back in 2008. Jeez, 2008 is a long time ago. When she wasn't really competing very much in MMA, was Julia Budd, which was the one in 2011, and Julia Budd, who was on the tear in Bellator. So 2 losses that you can't be too ashamed of. And even if she lost to Holly Holm, you wouldn't be ashamed of that one either. So yeah, she's probably close to a title fight, but you'd wonder if the UFC would want to do that title fight, just because she doesn't seem like the most popular fighter right now.
I'm not even personally sure if I'm that interested in Holly or not Holly. Amanda and Germaine.
Yeah, like, how do you sell that? Like, you had Amanda, who beat her fairly handily in their first bout.
Yeah, I think Amanda's at a level now where big fights only, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and that doesn't seem, unfortunately for De Randamie, it doesn't seem like a big fight.
Amanda's a headliner now, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, she's a headliner, and I don't think Amanda and Germaine is one you can put as a headline of a pay-per-view. No, I
just wonder where Amanda goes now, because, like, I hope Aspen Ladd does bounce back from that. I'm sure she will, but as I said, we'll talk about it. Her days at 135 are potentially numbered, because that weight cut seemed to me, it looked like one of the worst weight cuts in a long time, because not only did she look physically bad, but when you were looking at her face and she was wincing from the pain of having to even move.
She was shaking.
She was trembling. And then, like, when they, it's horrible, when they allowed her to, like, go back to pose for the cameras, and she was standing there and she was like this, and her arms
And I seen a UFC official tried to, or maybe it was our manager, tried to pass it off, saying, you know, it was nerves and stuff. I mean,
no,
she's been through enough weight cuts and gone through that enough time. It's not nerves.
Yeah,
that was a brutal weight cut. Her at 145. If that division opens up a bit more, could be an interesting prospect.
Yeah, there's nobody there really. Like, you know, if she goes up and she looks good there, you know, things could open for her. But I really wouldn't like to see that happen again. I wouldn't like to see her struggle to make that weight. Now, like, the problem could be that she's cutting too much water weight. Maybe if she wants to stay at this weight class, she just needs to take the hit and say, okay, I need to lose some muscle. I need to lose some actual weight. Because some fighters, what they do is they try to keep as much muscle as possible and much mass, so they're a bigger person in there. But then they leave too much for the water cut, which is, you know, the really poor part.
It could be a case as well that, as like you said, the weight cut, she could just be managing the weight cut badly, or it could genuinely be she's cutting a lot of weight. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. It'd be interesting to know. Yeah,
but I don't really want to see that again. Yeah, it was poor.
My first thought, actually, I text you. My first thought when I seen the weight cut was I'm having a little bet on De Randamie here, so that paid off.
Throw a bet on you?
I had a bet on it, but I had it in a multiple with a few other things. Okay. Don't worry about it. Less said that the bet on.
Probably the most talked about result on the card, I found, and for obvious reasons, was Urijah Faber's win over Ricky Simón. I was surprised by the result.
Big time.
And I was surprised by how it finished, because this was Urijah Faber's quickest finish to date in his career, and it's just like his first TKO win since like 2007 or something like that, something mad like that. So a big victory over a young guy in Ricky Simón, and I gotta say, fair play to you, Urijah Faber. Fair play to you.
Look, the man's 40 years old, man.
Yeah,
still doing it. Just had a kid running 10 businesses or something like that. I think I seen an article.
That's hilarious.
It's a funny one. Honestly, I find it hard not to be a little bit skeptical. He's coming back. I'm not trying to say anything. I think it's just worth asking the question. What's
the question?
I actually didn't see it mentioned. You know, we've heard some stories around Team Alpha Male at the minute on what TJ was showing them all how to do.
That we do EPO. I mean, they do EPO. Yeah,
we'll look at that in a bit. Cody had a little Freudian slip or something.
As he tends to do.
Yeah. There is rumours coming out of Team Alpha Male, what Cody has said, TJ has said.
They taught us how to do it.
Yeah, I find it hard not to be a little bit skeptical. I find it hard not to ask the question anyway, because coming back after a 2.5 year layoff, looking at arguably the best he's ever looked, the best he's looked in a long time, certainly. First TKO win in a while, looking like that at 40.
Yeah,
but he did look phenomenal.
Do you know what as well? I find that, and I do it as well. A lot of people who like talk about MMA and cover the sport, they all follow the same kind of
train of thought.
As in, you know, Uriah's returning, like fuck's sake, and
MMA retirement.
If he wins, like, you know, who cares, because he's an old guy and all this. And I feel like people probably, I don't know, I haven't listened to people talking. I've heard one person talk and I've seen a few tweets, and it was kind of along them lines. It's like, you know, what's he coming back for and all this. But at the end of the day, I have to say, fair play to you, Urijah Faber.
Proved a lot of people wrong.
Proved me wrong in a way. Not that I didn't think he could compete in there. I thought he was going to lose the fight because Ricky Simón looks good. But especially because of the fact who Ricky Simón is. Like, this isn't Urijah Faber coming back to fight some guy his age from his era. This is a new guy, you know, a new up-and-coming guy. Maybe you can say it's not quite Ricky Simón's time, and that's probably the case. But these are some of the tougher fights I find for these older fighters, is that you're coming back to fight a young, energised guy who's hungry, who was at their peak performance or at least close to it. And like this was one of the questions. Like, when Urijah was coming back, can he compete against these younger guys? And you can see he can. And we know he can compete against some of the kind of guys who've been around for a long time. So like, I'm just like very, very impressed with what Urijah Faber done.
Time.
You know?
Does him and Cejudo interest you?
Not really. I think it's a tough fight for Urijah Faber. I don't think he can compete to that level. But I like the story in a way. You know, it's Urijah Faber. I don't know. I'm not hugely interested in it, but I just think Urijah Faber deserves a lot of credit.
Massive credit, because I kind of wrote him off coming off that layoff, and you're kind of questioning what's the motivation. Come on, like why are you coming back? Doesn't need to. Obviously wanted that, still had that itch. He never actually formally notified the UFC or USADA of his.
He stayed in the pool just in case. Yeah, so fair play to Urijah Faber. Ricky Simon will be back. He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
He got caught. I think he was I think he probably felt like a lot of people thought, I'm gonna start quick, and I'm gonna get Urijah Faber out there quickly.
Yeah.
But didn't happen for him. But he'll be back. Good fight though. Really good result here, I thought. Very impressive. Josh Emmett won
big time
by TKO against Mirsad Bektic. Very tough fight for him, I thought, and he came out well.
He's on a bit of a tear now since coming back. Like, it's a good bit of momentum to have after the surgery he had. With what is it, a load of metal plates in his body now. Yeah. So yeah, he's a guy now with probably one more win. Maybe you're putting him in that bracket of top 5 title shot time. Yeah. So yeah, he's on a bit of a tear now. It'd be good to see him get a tough match up next. Yeah,
I'd like to see him definitely get a top contender, because the only person he's lost to is Jeremy Stephens. That was a rough loss, and there was a bit of controversy in that. So I wouldn't even mind seeing them run it back at some point. Yeah. That'd be fun. But yeah, he's beat some good guys, and he's very entertaining in terms of those shots that he lands are powerful, and he basically landed a jab that dropped the guy.
He's a big dude.
Funny enough, on Tapology it says win via power jab to ground and pound. Very specific. Power jab. Okay. But yeah, he landed a jab. Bektic was walking right into it, dropped him, and then finished it off. And great reaction for him as well. Of course, he's from those parts, or at least he trains there. So yeah, good win.
He's so big for the weight class. I showed a picture of him. I had a picture of him up here before on the Weird News, if you remember. He weighs around 188 pounds. I think that's what it was, 188. A month out from not a month out maybe, but not that far out from weighing. Cuts a massive amount of weight.
That's insane. But I think he should get a top contender next.
Yeah,
for sure. Carl Robertson got a victory over Wellington Turman. Controversial enough. Just kept grappling with him for some reason. He had the advantage on the feet, kept grappling with him. I'm talking about Robertson. He still won.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just seemed like a really poor fight IQ in this fight. So yeah, whatever. Not a great fight. Marvin Vettori looked pretty decent against Cesar Ferreira. What stood out to you on the prelims?
Ryan Hall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about him. I hadn't seen the fight until today. Me and you watched it together. I like him. I think he's fun.
He's very fun.
His style is so weird. It must be so frustrating to fight him.
Yeah.
As a fighter, Elkins must have been there. Will you just fucking do something orthodox and figure it out? Couldn't get his hands on him. Couldn't get in range to sort of do what you normally do. He just keeps throwing himself to the floor, trying to grab a limb. So yeah, fun guy.
Yeah, he's mastered a few things. He's mastered the ground game as a whole.
Yeah.
But in particular on the floor, he's mastered the leg locks, and he was always a good choke guy as well. He choked a lot of people, but he's kind of developed a striking game just to play into that. He throws his wild strikes. He does have some good techniques with his hands. You could see that he landed a few straight lefts. And he looked good there, but he lands these crazy hook kicks because he knows if I miss this, most likely I'm going to be okay because I can just fall to my back.
Yeah,
and the guy probably won't follow me, and if he does, brilliant.
Anytime he misses, he just falls on his back.
Yeah.
The spinning hook kick he landed, in
the first round,
on the button.
Yeah,
Jesus, that was beautiful.
Again, another guy who deserves credit, and I know a lot of people don't like Ryan Hall. They think he's a bit of a boring fighter, and I can understand that because there was a few fights there where he basically laid on guys, but he was looking for submissions, and I think he's very entertaining. He's unique, and that's what I like about MMA. You get these kind of unique characters like Ryan Hall, who's a really unassuming guy who, as they said in the broadcast, you can go to a restaurant and if he starts on you or if you start on him, you think you can beat him up, but no, you can't. He's a tough motherfucker. But speaking of tough motherfuckers, Darren Elkins is one, and he couldn't get anything going in this fight. But he got hook kicked a few times and a few spinning back kicks to the body, and I thought Ryan Hall looked good. He's calling for a top 10 guy. I'd like to see it.
Yeah. Someone will pressure him. He's very there's not much urgency to his work.
Yeah.
Someone will pressure him, and it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely some really interesting matchups there for him. Yeah.
I would guess that he's going to get caught at some point, but man, until he gets caught, I will enjoy his work. But yeah, other things on the prelims that stood out to me was Jonathan Martinez's KO.
Yeah.
A big knee, jumping knee counter
Nasty.
over Lou. Also, Andre Feely looked
He looked
really
good.
Probably
That
the best
combo
we've seen him.
was-
Yeah, it was a jab, or was it a left straight
He
to
was
a
left
high
straight
right
to
kick?
the high right.
Beautiful. Dropped him and then finished him with a bit of ground and pound. I think there was a hook kick as well there.
Mm.
Man, that was fun. Yeah, Andre Feely looked really good, and he's a guy who's been kind of up and down in his career. And lately, I thought he's looked the best he's ever looked. In the Miles Jury fight, he looked really good. The Michael Johnson fight wasn't a bad performance, and then he's Dennis Bermudez there, and he beat the GOAT Artem Lobov as well. So title.
Has a win over Neil Ciceri as well, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. I think so.
Yeah.
Back in the day, yeah. Interesting. But yeah, that was that card. It was alright.
Yeah, it was good.
There was some good results.
It was good.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with Urijah Faber and all that. But comment below. Let us know who Urijah Faber should fight next.
Should he fight again?
Should he fight again? Yeah. Like, I think most people will say yeah. Just
Are you interested in him and Cejudo?
Yeah. Comment below. Jorge Masvidal was in the news again, of course, because he's had a great couple of weeks, and he's calling out Conor McGregor. He said that he wants to break his face and that it's an easy paycheck. The exact quote was, "I want Conor. I want to break his face. I think it's an easy paycheck. He's got these cash symbols written all over his face to me. I just don't see it going his way, if I'm honest with you." So if they made Jorge Masvidal now against Conor McGregor, not who would you pick, but what is your thoughts?
At 170, yeah,
170, yeah.
170. I think Jorge beats him.
Yeah,
especially the Jorge we've seen the last two fights.
Yeah, I think it's a tough fight.
I like it. I quite like it. I wouldn't mind seeing it. It's not a bad one to give Jorge if you're not giving him a title shot next, because I think you're right. Now is the time to sort of capitalise on the momentum Jorge has. Give him a title shot now while he's on the run, because it might not happen again. Fuck Colby anyway. But yeah, I don't mind it. But I don't think we're going to see McGregor in the short term future. I think back end of the year maybe. Probably December.
Yeah, like I like to fight. Like we kind of talk about this all the time when somebody calls out McGregor, is that it's going to be interesting either way, just to see if he comes back.
Who he actually gets matched,
especially because he's on a pretty bad run, like the worst run of his career. So throw him in there against anybody, and it's kind of interesting. But Jorge Masvidal does have that Nate Diaz quality right now, or just Diaz brothers quality. And I think a lot of people are talking about that. So I think when you hear Conor versus Jorge, you almost get shades of
it's interesting,
Conor versus Nate. So I think that's kind of interesting. And then it's one of those things, as we were talking about last week, is that his star is probably the biggest it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Unless he continues the run that he's on and he continues all these knockouts, which I hope he does, because it's really fun. So it's good just to pull the trigger on these guys.
Yeah.
Either a title fight or a big fight like this.
Don't think this fight will get made though. So
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I think it's more likely that the Nate fight is made or something different. But which one does make sense? Like the
Nate one honestly makes so much sense.
It does, yeah.
It's
but
just
like,
there.
Why isn't that fight being made, or why is even the UFC not really talking about it? I find it a bit bizarre.
I'd imagine it's not going to be that one as well. The Diaz one, if McGregor comes back, because he's booked to fight Anthony Pettis, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. But
so it's unlikely that one gets made realistically.
Depends on when it is. Let me have a look and see when it is.
It's on the Abu Dhabi card, isn't it?
Oh, so it's
September.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the back end of the year, which I don't think McGregor's fighting any time closer than November. Definitely not. I really don't think so. So yeah, that's plenty of time if he's not too banged up. And Nate Diaz would he doesn't need too much time off. So yeah, I don't know which one makes sense, but I'd like to see the Jorge Masvidal one.
Yeah, we kind of just want to see McGregor back in the cage now as well, don't we?
Yeah, I know. Fucking bullshit. Bellator 224 went down on the weekend as well. It wasn't, again, kind of like the UFC card. It wasn't the best card in the world, but there was an interesting performances, and one particular for us because we've had him on, quite recently.
Will Fleury, yes, so
he got a big win. We will start with the main event. Julia Budd continued her reign of dominance over in a win to continue her championship reign. Look good, but again, it kind of feels like to me now is that there's nobody really in this division that's gonna challenge her.
Honestly, she's not someone I knew a whole pile about. I was looking at her Topology record there over the weekend. First 4 fights, Have you seen who she's fought?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Amanda, Germaine, Holly, and Ronda.
Ronda, yeah.
Is it? It's
Something
insane, like. And I think she has a win over Germaine, isn't it? And then lost
She
the other
lost
three.
to Rosie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane run, and she's just been on a tear since. So you kind of would like to see her in the UFC and get matches against these guys again.
She's jacked as well, isn't she?
Because she got matched so early against those guys. That is an outrageous start to your professional career. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she's now 13-2. And like, if you do want to build a 145 division, like, she's probably the one that you want, isn't she?
Yeah, I think there's fights to be made for her in the UFC. You've Megan Anderson, you've Amanda, you've Aspen Ladd even. Yeah. In the 145, you want to bring her up. There's fights to be made
Cyborg
for her.
if she sticks around. Yeah. So that, interesting. But yeah, kind of, it's not a great fight to look at because, as in this main event, because, you know, it just doesn't seem like she's really getting a lot of competition right
challenged.
now. Rafael Carvalho got a win over Chidi Njokuani. Ed Root got a win again, knee and punches, that was nice. And we'll go down because we're going to talk about the Irish lads.
Yeah.
So anyone Irish who was listening, this is for you. Kiefer Crosby had a weird fight. He was looking good against Mike Jackson, late notice. And then he just had a moment of madness in a way. And I'm not sure if I don't think he meant it. It was just in the moment and landed a illegal knee. Jackson potentially milked it. I'm not going to say that. Potentially milked it and stayed down, and it was a DQ, but rightfully it was a DQ. It was an illegal knee, but unfortunate for Kiefer.
Yeah, I think he knew straight away.
Yeah, he did.
He fucked it. It's a tough one because you're in a fight and it's hard to have it go through your head, okay, that's an illegal knee. You're in a fight, like, so it's tough, but I don't think he meant it. It's just a shitty situation for him, isn't it? Yeah,
it was a bad one. Again, just a moment of maybe inexperience in a way.
Possibly,
But yeah, you know, he'll be back. But it was a poor loss. Leslie Smith beat Sinead Kavanagh by majority decision. Thoughts?
Stinking decision.
Yeah,
I thought stinking decision. Yeah. So Leslie was very much pressuring. Wasn't landing fuck all really, to be honest. Landing very little, and Sinead was picking her off with single shots and a couple of combos. Just picked her off lovely, you know. A boxing performance really. Just stood on the outside, picked her off. For me, done all the cleaner work. I thought it was a pretty clear decision that she was going to win it. So I thought the decision was stinking, and a lot of people on Twitter were fairly outraged over it. A really poor decision. Yeah.
I know Sinead missed weight again. She weighed in at 147.7 for a 145 pound fight. She could have weighed in at 146. But yeah, that's not good. That's a few times she's missed weight now. And to be fair, that's not very professional. This has happened a few times, and you know, if you want to be competing for titles, and it is something that she put up. She had a picture with Julia Budd saying, "I'd love to fight you sometime," and I'm sure we will. And I'd love to see that fight, but you know, when you're missing weight, it's not great. It's one that it just always leaves a question mark. You know, are they going to show up? Exactly. And we've seen it before. You know, title fights got fucked up because
John Lineker as well got cut just because of issues with that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the lone Irishman to pick up a win was Will fucking Fleury.
Woo!
See the nickname? They went with Feckin.
Did they?
They went with Will Feckin Fleury.
Come on, man.
And I'll just say, you're
America,
on the prelims.
get your fucking shit together.
You're on the prelims, but good performance by Will. Completely dominant. Didn't really have any trouble with Antonio Jones. Look good. 30-26 on one card, wasn't it? Yeah. Utterly dominant. Delighted for Will. Really big win. Got a nice bit of momentum now. Get him on the Dublin card. Get him a fight, a big fight. He's on a nice run. So yeah, I'd love to see him matched up well on the Dublin card. Yeah, definitely. And we might talk about Spuds later again. Yeah. Sounds filthy. But yeah, great to see. 6-1 now. He has that one lone loss. So yeah, I'd love to see him on the Dublin card. But yeah, that was pretty much that card. AJ Agazarm got a win as well, submission. But yeah, that was that card. Again, not great, but we hopefully have a better card coming up this weekend, which we'll talk about momentarily. But we have some more news to get to. China is in the news. So this was weird. I seen this on Reddit. China banned MMA fighters from competing with tattoos. So this is in line with basically China, I think it was like last year, they banned hip-hop culture and tattoos from like actors. Hip-hop culture? Yeah, culture, yeah. I'm not sure. How do you ban culture? I don't know. On TV, basically. Okay. So basically, on TV, you're not allowed to have tattoos or visible tattoos on television and hip-hop culture. So I'm not sure if that means rapping or what that means exactly. Chinese, man. So this seems to be bleeding into MMA now, and it was reported by Phuket Top Team, their official Twitter account, that they have basically outlawed MMA fighters from competing with tattoos. So some fighters are wearing rash guards to cover up their tattoos. Some fighters are basically taping themselves up to hide their tattoos, and also some promoters are just saying this is just too much hassle. We're just not going to allow fighters with tattoos to compete. This is fucking bizarre, isn't it?
This is so dumb, man. Honestly, who thought of this? This is so dumb. I could understand if it was some proactive measure in the interest of fighters. This is just ridiculous, like, especially in the sport of MMA. I understand some people don't like tattoos. Cool,
Fair enough.
Yeah. You don't like them, and I understand that as well. Certain advertisers, people sponsorship.
Yeah.
They might not want guys with tattoos. Fine, don't sponsor MMA then.
Yeah.
This is MMA, and your issue is with tattoos, not what's going on in the cage.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
I'd imagine what this is that in Japan anyway, I'm not sure about China, but in Japan, tattoos are very much linked with gang culture.
Yeah.
With the Yakuza and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So maybe it's something similar with China. So like they're basically trying to outlaw tattoos in general.
Still ridiculous either way.
But like it is ridiculous. So with Chinese fighters, I doubt you have much risk of having too many like events cancelled or anything like that, because a lot of Chinese fighters don't have tattoos. It's just the way it is. It's probably it's the culture over there anyway not to have them. But talking about like the UFC or other promotions that are going over to China, which happens quite soon with Jessica Andrade.
Yeah, I have a picture of her on screen here.
Yeah, she has tattoos. What happens there? Is she allowed to fight?
It's probably going to be one of them a John Jones style thing will happen, where they'll just make an exception, won't it?
You'd hope so, but it's very, very weird. And like if you look at the unified rules of MMA, they specifically say like with females they can wear rash guards. It's in the rules. Yeah. But like with men, you're not allowed to wear rash guards. It completely changed the rule set, so you can't really just like change that and wear it. It changes the game. Like, grappling is completely different with a rash guard, and if guys are fully covered on their legs, they'd have to wear like the long tights. So yeah, man, this is very weird.
So stupid.
It's very strange. Hopefully they, I don't know, cop on and say, come on. But like,
cop on yourself. Come out of the fog, like fucking hell.
But like, I don't know. Like, if they do continue and this actually becomes a thing, the UFC might have to rethink their movement into China, because, like, what would you say the percentage is? It's at least 50% of MMA fighters in the UFC have
easy.
tattoos.
And
I'd say 60.
It's easily that, and they all have that tattoo with their name on their back.
I know.
That one,
just in case they forget. What about the damage?
Oh, that was awful, man. Darren Elkin's tattoo, that is awful, man. I hope he regrets that one, because that is a stinking tattoo.
I know. But yeah, let's see if Jessica Andrade is told she can't fight in China. We'll see. Cody Garbrandt was in the news as well. He is making a return, so he's cleared for a return, and he basically says that he believes that if he fights smart, nobody can really match him. Which, to be honest, I've spoken about this a few times. I'm really frustrated with Cody Garbrandt, because when I saw him fight Dominic Cruz, I was like, holy shit, this is a different type of guy. This guy is excellent. Good head movement, great footwork, fast hands, fought very, very smart against Dominic Cruz. And
stuck to a game plan.
And then every other fight, apart from that, he didn't really fight that way. So I tend to say, yes, Garbrandt can fight that way because we've seen it. So let's hope that we see it again.
It's hard to disagree with him, really, based on everything he's shown us. It's hard to disagree with what he's saying.
Yeah. I don't know if nobody can touch him, but it's kind of...
He's definitely a lot more competitive than he has been in his last few fights, if he stays.
Let's jump to this first, and then we'll go back to talk about his return. But Cody Garbrandt's hilarious. So he was being interviewed, and he was talking about TJ Dillashaw again. And Cody Garbrandt, sometimes he's talking about things, and he says the wrong thing, which makes him look like he's doing something bad. And a similar thing happened here.
He got tested for EPO was when he fought Henry, and it wasn't even by USADA, or it was by USADA. I'm sorry, Jeff did correct me on that. So it's crazy. So why are we getting tested for it? We're not in there shooting steroids up and getting big, and we're doing they're doing the EPO. They're doing all that kind of shit to cardio base.
God damn it,
Cody. In his head he must have thought, oh fuck.
Yeah.
We'll go back to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. So why are we getting tested for it? We're not in there shooting steroids up and getting big, and No, we're doing the they're doing the EPO. You know,
We're doing the. I mean, and they're doing the EPO.
Yeah.
Well done, Cody.
It's hard not to question some of the stuff
I
coming
know.
out of Team Alpha Male, given what he said and what we've heard from other people as well. It's a question worth asking, I think.
Yeah. Who would you like to see Cody Garbrandt fight when he comes back?
I don't know. What do you do? Because he's clearly a title level guy. He's shown that when he fights smart.
Yeah.
He just doesn't always fight smart.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd like to see him fight somebody a little bit lower level when he comes back. Not low level, but lower level.
I agree with your reasoning for it, but I also think he's a guy who might be motivated by a matchup where he has to switch on, as in Dominic Cruz. I think
he called for Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, I think he's a guy who might switch off with a lower level fight.
Maybe. I just hope that, the fact, because he did talk about, having all this time off and being able to spend time with his family. And he did talk about his, apparent lack of fighter IQ.
Yeah.
And he said that, he does just bite down on the mouthpiece sometimes and swing with these guys, and maybe that's not the best idea. And I think we've seen that that's not the best idea with Cody Garbrandt. So hopefully him coming back now, he's going to say, okay, I need to fight different. I need to look back at the fights where I fought smart. And we see the best Cody Garbrandt because he is fun to watch. And he is a really good fighter. It's just we haven't really seen that from him.
Yeah.
Looking at the rankings for bantamweight, guys who you have up there that he could fight are the likes of Corey Sandhagen would be fun, but I don't think they're going to do that yet.
I wouldn't do that one personally.
No, I wouldn't do that. Like Pedro Munoz is ranked number 5. He beat Cody before that. So let's go further down. You have Dominic Cruz, then you have Cody Garbrandt, Jimmy Rivera, Corey Sandhagen, Cody Stamen, Rob Font. I like to see Rob Font.
Cody Stamen, Rob Font, yeah.
Yeah, one of those. I like Rob Font because Rob Font's a good striker. That'd be fun. I mean, we'd be able to see then if Cody can fight smart against a guy who will try brawl with him. Although Rob Font fights smart, but I think he'll know. Let's try pull him into a brawl.
Yeah, I think I totally understand why these guys are fighters. Fighters are crazy. You have to be crazy to do what they do. You have to have a little bit of a screw loose inside you. Yeah. And as good as these guys, Cody knows how good he is. He's not stupid. He knows how. Sometimes he's a bit stupid, like we just played there, but he knows how good. he knows how good
in the cage. Yeah. He cannot be stupid at times.
Yeah. He knows how good he can be, but they're fighters. They just fucking love a tear up. So it can be hard not to get pulled into that. But I do hope we see the best of him because he's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's excellent. So that's the main topics that we have for today, but there's plenty of other news since we went on air. One thing that did happen today, and very, very sad news, Pernell Whitaker, legendary boxer, only what was is 50 odd?
55, I think.
He was killed in a traffic accident, wasn't he? He was hit by a car walking across the street. To be honest, I didn't see a whole lot of Pernell Whitaker
before
when I
our
was
time,
younger.
really.
He was a little bit before our time, but he's a four-weight world champion at lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, and from what I've seen and what I know, he was one of the better defensive boxers that you'll see. Very, very famous and well-liked boxer. A lot of people think he's one of the best fighters at his weight class of all time.
Like you, I personally hadn't seen a whole pile of him as well. Knew who he was, knew why he was talked about like he is. Yeah. Mentioned up there with Floyd Mayweather today. Some of the names I've seen him mentioned, but you're like, okay, this guy was legit. I know
Max Kellerman came out and said that he was the best fighter at that weight class over Floyd Mayweather and all that.
That's some high praise as well. So rest in peace, Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah, big time. Is there any news that you saw?
Yeah, so Eddie Alvarez, we were just flicking through Reddit here. I'm going to put it on screen because this is the first we've seen of it, so we can react live here. Eddie Alvarez is back in the One Championship Grand Prix at lightweight. If this scrolls me, where is this now? Tell me where we are.
Yeah, I think there it is there.
There it is there.
Yeah.
Let's see what this says.
Yeah, so he re-enters the...
someone must have pulled out.
Yeah, the upcoming fight between Eddie Alvarez and Edward Folyang has been added to the One Championship semi-finals. The change comes not long after Russian contender Timofey Natyukin suffered a knee injury. All right,
okay,
from the semi-final. That makes sense. Cool to see him back in there.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be a fishy One Championship move. That's where likely to see.
That was my first thought. I was like, oh, this stinks. Now they're after paying the money for him. They're just going to stick him in again, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, he lost. I will throw him back in there. Reminds me of
Just on the topic of one, you sent me something very interesting earlier. If you want to talk about that.
So let me try to get it up here because it'll make more sense. So there was some accusations against one championship being
bandied about.
Yeah, being a bit, I don't know what you'd say, shitty as a promotion.
Corrupt is the word I would think of, Rob.
Yeah, I didn't want to go with the corrupt word, but yeah, they're saying they're a corrupt promotion. There was two things, and it was from Will Chope, apparently. Although the Twitter account or the Facebook account says a different name, but apparently we're on good authority to say that it's from Will Chope, the fighter. So the first thing was about their pay. So he said that their Warrior series, which is like the kind of lower level shows, almost like the Dana White Contender series in a way.
Regional as well.
Yeah, it's quite regional. Like you get some American guys on it, but if you do get them on it, they're like, you know, guys who have 4 or 5 fights max. So it's a lower level promotion. And he said that they get paid 1k, so 1k to win, 1k to show. And there was a lot of uproar about this. What's your thoughts on that first?
I understand the uproar, but I also think it's a total lack of awareness on people on how much some of these guys actually get paid at some of this regional level.
Yeah.
Like, are you telling me cage riders are paying much better than that? It's unlikely.
I doubt it. Like for the same level guys.
Yeah, it's unlikely. Bama, even back in the day, they're not around anymore. Like Bellator, a lot of their regional type shows, are they paying massive money? It's unlikely. Obviously there's guys on good money, but the level of guys that are fighting on that Warrior series? Yeah, the Warrior series. Yeah. They're not going to be on big money anymore. So I do think it's a lack of awareness from people as to how much some of these fighters actually earn. Yeah, like
I did see WSOF. I remember years ago, because there was uproar about this one as well. They were paying some guy 500.
That's shitty, like.
Not K.
That's so
dollars.
Shit. That doesn't cover your flight, man.
No, that's insane.
I'm going to America next month, and my flight cost me more than 500.
Yeah, I know.
So it doesn't even cover that, let alone expenses.
Yeah. But that's not to say this is not good or this is good, because this is terrible. Like 1k, and I hope, please be USD. Don't be Chinese currency or Chinese dollars,
Chinese
because
yen, that thing's worth a fortune.
Yeah, it's
like 10,000 yen for a loaf of bread.
Yeah, I know. So if it's that, I doubt it's that.
It's not.
Be. But yeah, it's terrible.
It's shitty money, but it's about the level for those type of guys. Like.
Yeah, like the Contender Series guys get 5k, and most likely they're probably from places where, like the US, where it's way more expensive to live. A lot of the guys that are on this one Warrior series are guys regionally from that area. So we're not saying it's right, it's terrible, and fighters should be getting paid way more than this, but it's not far off
the thing
what
is,
some other guys get in the UFC and other promotions.
I think it's more an indictment on the sport than one FC.
I agree.
It's just the way it is in the sport, and it's totally wrong. These guys are going to end up on their lives in the line, and it's totally wrong. So yeah, I think it's more an indictment on the sport than one in this case anyway. Yeah,
I don't know if you can get this. If you go to Reddit while I'm talking here, and go to like new and just scroll down, you'll find the go to new, and this is another one championship thing. It's from the same guy, Will Chope, and he was talking about, I'm not sure what they done to him. If you scroll down a little bit, scroll
this one.
Yes.
Okay, so Will Chope.
Yeah, so he's talking about their drug testing. So essentially, he said that they there was an article that was released that one championship would use WADA testing or WADA-like testing, but apparently
WADA-like being keyword. Yeah,
exactly. So it's not actually WADA. They're just saying they're going to use the standards, but it's going to be guys locally. It's going to be their employees, or at least their guys that they're going to employ, or they're going to choose to do this kind of thing. And there's some weird stuff here. So he says that they basically need a third party because it's corrupt as fuck, and he's saying that they basically favour guys in gyms that they favour. So like Chatri clearly favours the gym that he's involved in, that they always have on their cards. So you go check this out on Reddit, because essentially he's saying that the urine tests get sent to a lab in Taiwan, and essentially the doctor is paid off to like say or
very Russian state types dodgy stuff going on.
Yeah, which, and then at the end it says #fuck1, and then Chatri, for some reason, who, if you don't know, is basically the president of one championship, said this first thing was, after he went in on one and said that their drug testing is shite and they need to change it, Thank you for your post, Will. I actually agree with you on most of the things that you wrote. There are some errors, but I'm not here to create beef. Probably not the best way to address this, when he basically said they're paying off doctors to say that we didn't, get tested, or that we got tested correctly and that we're clean.
If you read Chattery's response, he doesn't actually deny any of this.
No.
He says on a related note, WADA has a network of certified WADA labs. That's how they all VADA the same. They'd have VADA certified labs. That's how it works. He doesn't address that the testing is all internal, not done by an independent party.
No.
I mean, if true, it fucking stinks.
I think we always knew that was possibly true.
Yeah.
Like, even the weight cut stuff, like, I know that they don't even let media into the weight cut area and stuff like that. So, like, I find one very, very shady.
It's a bit Pride-esque.
Yeah.
Possibly.
If you want to hear some great commentary on one championship, go check out Jack Slack's podcast. Fights Gone By. He goes in on one a lot of the time, and it is quite funny. But he always talks about how they don't let media into the weight cutting things.
That's
where
definitely for a bad reason. So.
Yeah, because they had Angela Lee, who is absolutely huge for the weight class. Apparently making weight fine. But I don't know. It's very shady. I don't know. That's enough for one. I can't do it. Was there anything else news-wise that you saw?
That's all I've got, I think.
The only other thing was that the Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Jung, he said that he would like to fight, or he didn't say, but he hinted at it, that he would like to fight Brian Ortega in his return.
Big fan of that. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Yeah, T-City, baby.
Yeah, I love it. I love both guys.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun fight.
That's a fun one.
Let us know in the comments if you'd like to see that fight. But yeah, I think we should move on, because there's a fight card that's coming up, and in my opinion, it is not bad.
Yeah,
I like it. Let's go talk about it. UFC on ESPN 4 goes down this Saturday. It is Dos Anjos versus Leon Edwards. Interesting fight. It's a big fight in the welterweight division. Leon Edwards is surprising a few people, I think, in the division, with a big win over Gunnar Nelson and out-grappling him. Rafael dos Anjos seems to be having some kind of resurgence, but let's talk about it and let's see if we believe he will continue that resurgence. We're going to go down the full main card, start the main event, give our predictions, give our picks, and break down the fight. So I'm going to throw it to you first. Last week I asked you this question: was the main event for that card worthy of being an ESPN Plus main event?
Yep.
You said no. Is this worthy of being an ESPN, a big ESPN main event?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
This could potentially be Leon Edwards' coming out party, because he's been on a bit of a tear. His last loss was, who we were looking at it earlier, his last loss was to
Kamaru Usman,
who's now the champion.
Yes.
So that form is quite good. He's been on a bit of a tear since. I think this is a good step up for him, to good title level opposition now.
Yeah.
If he gets a win here, he's in title contention with one more win probably. It's a bit clogged to the top there, but yeah, I think it's more than worthy of an ESPN card.
Yeah, I agree. And the best thing he could probably do is, if he does win this fight, call out Jorge Masvidal, because they had that little back and forth.
Yeah, that fight has to get made.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like the fight. I think it's worthy of being a main event as well. And I'm glad that Leon Edwards is getting this opportunity, because when we had PT Carroll from MMA Fighting on, he was adamant. He was like, give Leon Edwards his shot. And I think this is a big fight for him. He hasn't had too many fights in the States. Don't know how many. I'm not sure if this is his first. I don't think it's his first. But it's definitely his biggest platform. And it's against a really good guy and a fairly popular guy. I don't think RDA was ever the biggest star for the UFC.
No.
But he was a bit of a star. He was a champion. So he is a former champ. And as I said, he's on a bit of a resurgence. That win over Kevin Lee, I thought, was very impressive.
Yeah.
It was Kevin Lee's first foray up to welterweight. I think it showed a little bit.
Yeah.
But I thought RDA showed a lot of experience getting that win. It was a beautiful triangle choke. And I thought he just fought very, very smart. He knew that Kevin Lee was going to come out aggressive, and he just weathered that storm. And sometimes we saw RDA in the past kind of wilt to that storm.
Yeah.
When guys, he's a great grappler, a really good jiu-jitsu guy, but when guys really pushed on him, he wilted a little bit. And I thought that was a really good performance. I thought it showed us a lot about RDA. With Leon Edwards, since that fight with Kamaru Usman, and maybe the Donald Cerrone fight, but Cerrone was a different guy. I think back then he's looked a lot better recently. I think it's probably his toughest fight to date.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. Especially just RDA is just such a solid guy.
Yeah.
He's always a good yardstick for anyone.
Yeah.
Such a tough matchup for Leon, really. I mean, I thought Gunnar was going to get the win. Leon surprised me big time.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to write him off here whatsoever after that.
And the biggest surprise in that fight was that he out-grappled Gunnar Nelson.
That was it.
You know, Gunnar got it to where he wanted it to be on the floor while he was put there.
Yeah.
But even on his back, Gunnar's usually very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And Leon was... I think this is with Leon. He's very good at doing the basic stuff.
Yeah.
And he's really, really good at that. And I think that's why he probably hasn't broke out the way a lot of other people has, because he's not really
effective fighter.
Yeah, he's not really flashy in any particular way. He doesn't have like killer jiu-jitsu. He's not this one-punch knockout guy. He's just very good at everything. And that can be very, very frustrating for certain guys to fight. And I think it could be a problem for Dos Anjos here, because I think Edwards will just be in his face and fighting well for the entire fight. Yeah.
I mean, let's be real, the only reason anyone in America would probably know who Leon Edwards is because of the three-piece Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that's why I said this could be his breaking out party. But the odds are obviously Leon is a small favourite. He's 8-11, and Dos Anjos is evens, which I was a bit surprised at. I thought Dos Anjos, if either of them, might be a slight favourite. Yeah. But I think it's probably fair. I'd very much lean towards Leon, but tough fight for him. Yeah,
he has a nice reach advantage on RDA, and he does use that well. He's not, as I said, he's not this crazy great striker, but he's very effective. And his wrestling isn't really, really good, but he mixes it in well with his strikes.
Yeah, MMA wrestling is good.
It's very good, yeah. I'm very interested to see what RDA looks like, because that was a very good performance. But before that, the Kamaru Usman fight and the Colby Covington, which, you know, both of them fights are seemingly like the worst style matchup for him. You know, these really good grapplers who can kind of grind them out a little bit. And Edwards isn't necessarily that guy, but I think he's just well-rounded. I think he's very, very good. RDA is a big puncher, but we haven't seen that trouble Leon Edwards before. He doesn't really get hit that much. I'm leaning towards Edwards.
Yeah, I'm going to take Leon as well in this.
Yeah. Let's see what topology I'm going. I'm going to go Edwards by decision. And I think RDA will win some rounds in there. I don't think it's going to be a clear 5-round thing. I think maybe we'll have Leon winning the early rounds, and RDA might take the latter, because RDA's cardio is quite good.
This is probably Leon's first 4 out of 5 rounds
in the UFC anyway. I think he had that main event slot against Cerrone, but that did that go 5 rounds? Let me just double check that. Leon Edwards, I don't think he finished Cerrone, did he?
Decision, I think.
Yeah, decision. I believe that was 5 rounds, because that was the main event, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah.
So and he looked good. Like, I think RDA probably has the edge in cardio, because his cardio is always pretty good. Well, yeah, I'm going to go with Edwards, and it's actually completely the opposite way. It's 64% on Tapology are going for Dos Anjos.
Interesting.
36%.
That doesn't surprise me massively.
Doesn't surprise me at all. And, like, to be honest, you know, before I thought about this fight, I was like, RDA is good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go RDA. But the more I think about it, I just think Edwards is very well rounded. I'm going to go with Edwards.
Yep.
Same.
Yeah, I'll take Leon as well. Maybe a late finish.
Oh, late finish. Look at him. Co-main event is Alexei Olenek against Walt Harris. A bit of a weird fight, in my opinion. Walt Harris looks good in spots, and he's had, you know, some really good wins. He's also had some weird losses, like the one to Mark Godbeer, the DQ loss, the illegal kick, and he also ran into Fabricio Verdun pretty early on. Alexei Olenek, another kind of weird fighter in a way, where he catches people in Ezekiel chokes in no-gi. Of course, it's no-gi, it's MMA, but it's weird.
His record is insane. 57-11.
I know, and imagine how many fights unsanctioned he had.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know about this fight.
It's a poor co-main, to be honest.
I agree, it's a bit of a poor co-main, and like, I feel like Olenek can probably catch him, because Walt Harris's submission game isn't great. But I also feel like if Walt Harris does keep it on the feet, Alexei has shown, like in his last fight against Alistair Overeem, he can get caught. I'm not really sure where to go on this one.
not a great fight, to be honest. Not that interested in it.
Yeah.
11-7 from Old Harris, not a great record. To be honest, I don't know a whole pile about either of these guys. I'd be interested to see the odds. I'll have a look now.
What's with Olenik's record there? It's weird the way it's isn't it?
I changed it
Very
because Rob was using some dodgy stuff there, so the language is different.
It's got a VPN.
Yeah.
It's a way to get on the Fight Pass. So man, this is a kind of a shot in the dark. Not a shot in the dark because I know about guys very well, but like,
it's just a fight you feel like you've seen before, isn't it?
yeah, it's just something about it. It's not great. It really isn't great.
Old Harris is quite a slight favourite, 4-7, and Olenik is 5-4.
Yeah,
Doesn't really do anything for me either.
like I could really see it going both ways, but what I see more is that Olenek is getting a little bit old, and Walt Harris will land a heavyweight shot. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of hate saying, a heavyweight, this guy punches big, because everybody punches big at heavyweight. But Walt Harris does have a nice shot in him, so we'll go with Walt Harris by some kind of finish. But it would not surprise me if he gets caught with a submission, because he's not great at defending them.
I don't know with this one. I think this will be a fight maybe where I go make some food or something.
Yeah. Will you be making some food in the third fight down, which is Greg Hardy against Juan Adams? Another kind of weird spot. It's surprising that this isn't the co-main event, just because it seems to be on brand for the UFC to put him in the co-main event. But we have Greg Hardy here, who's a really good athlete. You have to give it to him. Very good athlete against Juan Adams, who, heavyweight. He's a big puncher, as I don't like to say. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Greg Hardy here. I just think Juan Adams had a good run in the Contender Series, had that good win. But his last loss against Arjun Buller didn't look overly impressive. I just think that Greg Hardy has enough athletic ability, and he's not the worst fighter in the world. You see him throwing punches. He's learning. And so is Juan Adams. They're both learning. They're both very similar in their careers, as in one is 5-1, Juan Adams. Greg Hardy's 4-1. So they're both at similar stages of their career. None of them right now are world beaters, but I'm going to take the better athlete, in my opinion. I'm going to take Greg Hardy.
Yeah, I think we spoke last time Greg Hardy was fighting. I think everything we said then pretty much applies to this fight. Yeah, he's well matched, he's learning on the job, and he's been matched accordingly. So I'll take Greg Hardy.
As we said, much like every heavyweight fight, somebody could get caught here and it could be over really, really quickly.
The odds are actually interesting.
Yeah,
this is obviously my first time looking at the odds. Greg Hardy 10-11, Juan Adams 4-5. Well, interesting.
Yeah, I kind of get it. Like, it's definitely Hardy's best opponent to date. Yeah, like, the guy can fight. He's a good puncher, but we'll see. It might be, if he gets some takedowns, it might be interesting. I'd like to see what happens.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see him put in positions that he hasn't been put in yet. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him matched where he's going to learn with guys who are going to put him in position, not maybe the highest level, but who can put him in positions he hasn't seen before. Yeah.
So if I was the promoter, I would push them two fights down, although maybe just having Greg Hardy up there helps with the builds, but these next three fights are probably the better fights on the card apart from the main event. It is James Vick versus Dan Hooker. That's a fun excellent fight. Yeah,
Dan Hooker, it's a really good fight. I'm looking forward to that
one. So interesting one for a couple of reasons. James Vick, as we know, is huge for the weight class. Dan Hooker, as we know, fights really well at range. Will that cancel itself out? Potentially. Will that really take away a lot of Dan Hooker's abilities? He loves to throw that knee up the centre, but it's not something that's going to really work. I kind of struggle with a pick on this one, because I feel like some of the best things that Dan Hooker can do is against guys who are significantly smaller. I got there. Smaller than him. And James Vick isn't that guy. Yeah. But I still feel like Dan Hooker can put it together much better than James Vick. James Vick, for me, sometimes is just, I don't know, I think he's brought his skills, or he's brought his career further than his skills in a way. Like, he's outperformed what his skills are. I just feel like a lot of the time he defensively isn't very sound. He leans back a lot with his hands down. We've seen that against Paul Felder, where he was going against the cage, hands down, head back, and he was getting caught. So I'm kind of going with my heart on this one as well, because I'm a big fan of the way Dan Hooker works and fights. So I'm going to go with Dan Hooker, but it wouldn't surprise me either way.
Yeah, the odds probably reflect that. Dan Hooker's 8-13 and James Vick 6-5. I like Hooker as well, probably. But again, I think Vick, not too sure how he'll turn up on the night. Because I think you're right. I think he's a guy who has potentially overachieved to some extent. But I like Dan Hooker. I think he's very good. I really rate him.
The interesting thing about Vic, I find as well, is that when he was talking after his UFC loss, his initial one, he was like very, very upset over, because he felt like the UFC don't really like the way he fights and don't really like to promote him. So he felt like because he got that loss, he was so far away from a title. So I wonder if that kind of plays into his mindset as well going into fights. You'd wonder.
It probably does, to be honest.
Francisco Trinaldo against Alexander Hernandez is next on the card. This is a fun fight as well.
Yeah, who was Trinaldo matched against last?
I'll check that now. I can't remember off the top of the head. But
yeah, that's an interesting matchup. I think that's a good matchup.
I think so as well. Trinaldo was matched against Evan Dunham and got a win. Trinaldo is the guy who gets wins over people that you don't expect. Like, he has that win over Paul Felder, of course, it was the cut. But even when you go back further, like, he had that win over Norman Park, which was ugh.
Yeah.
But then, you know, wins over Ross Pearson, Jim Miller, Yancy Medeiros. He's a tough guy to fight.
Very solid resume there.
Yeah, very, very solid.
Alex Hernandez, that's the guy who Cowboy fought when he came back to lightweight. Yeah, he was a good prospect. Yeah,
he was a good prospect, and
still is, to be fair.
He is.
But
I think he'll take that loss well. He seems like a very analytical guy, Hernandez, and you know, it was a knockout loss. So you always wonder how these guys are going to return after getting knocked out. Yeah, it's his first loss and knockout.
Mentally, it's a big thing to take on board, and you have to really look at yourself and say, okay, this is what I did wrong. And then it does change you as a fighter. You're a bit more wary to stick your chin out or to put your hands down.
Because, like, you always hear about guys talking about how, you know, before I got knocked out, and there's many instances of this, before I got knocked out, I felt invincible. Like, I felt like I could take any shot. And there's guys that, like, made their career on that. Like Chuck Liddell just felt like he could take any shot and he walked through punches. And then as he started getting knocked out, he just could not do that anymore, you know. I did change him as a fighter.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he looks. I'll just have a look at the odds on that one.
Yeah, but yeah, I like the way both guys fight at times. But I think Hernandez, I still feel like he's a really good prospect. Tough one for him to come back against such an experienced guy, good kickboxer. But I just feel like he has the edge on the feet. I think he's the fresher, faster guy. And even on the floor, he has good wrestling, and we can see where he takes it. But I'm going to go with Hernandez in this one.
Yeah, he's 4-7, and Trinaldo's 5-4. I think it's priced pretty fairly.
That kind of makes sense. So I'm actually going to check Tapology on this one. Cause
I'll take Hernandez in that one as well, I think.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see where he can go, to be honest. Interesting guy. 79% Hernandez. Whoa.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
deep.
I do like Hernandez.
I do like him. That's deep, though. The
We're
opener,
going deep.
the opener on the main card is Andrei Arlovski versus Ben Rothwell. You said something to me when you saw this fight. What did you say?
It just feels like a heavyweight fight that I've seen before.
Yeah,
it's like, have they fought before?
I need to check.
It just feels like something. It's just a heavyweight bout, isn't it? It's two heavyweights who are just perennially there. They're just always there.
Yeah,
it's just always there. It just feels like a fight I've seen before.
Let me see, Andrei.
They definitely haven't.
They have.
Have they?
They have.
How many times? Just the
once, yeah.
When?
That was in... Oh, shit! Yes, Affliction 1. I remember that. We're doing this live, bro.
When was that?
That was 2008. So let's not take that one into account.
The matchmaking is so weird. Yeah.
That was Affliction 1. Donald Trump had a stake in that promotion.
Great, had he?
Yeah.
Bastard.
Hilarious. It went under, as all Donald Trump's business.
Doesn't surprise me that.
Ain't none of my business. So yeah, it is a fight that happened before. So well done.
Yeah, I did. Just to be clear, I actually didn't know it had happened before. You just look at it and you're like, that fight definitely has happened before. Yeah. It's one of them.
So this is a weird one, right? Because Andrei Arlovski, sorry, I'm gonna go with Ben Rothwell. Ben Rothwell, in his last fight, I thought he clearly won it against.
I remember that. Yeah,
against
no one was the same.
Ivanov. Yeah, I thought it was a clear win. For him, and I think one of us picked against him. I'm not sure. Noel might have picked against him, and he admitted it. Andrei Arlovski, he came back from the fucking dead, because Andrei Arlovski, when he was outside the UFC fighting Tim Sylvia for the 7th time, he was getting absolutely just knocked out by everybody. Came back and his chin like magically restored itself. I wonder what happened.
Interesting.
But he's on a very, very poor run now. But all decision losses, hasn't got finished. I'm going to go with Ben Rothwell here. I think Ben Rothwell is still not a contender right now, but I still think he can mix up with the best of them. He's only had one fight since 2016. That was the Ivanov fight, and I thought he looked good in that fight. I thought he won that fight fairly clearly. And he's just an awkward guy to fight.
Yeah.
The way he moves, like he has this weird, like they should call him like Bigfoot Kung Fu or something. The way he kind of moves is just like very strange. Throws punches from awkward angles. Andrei Arlovski, much more classically trained boxer, but I just feel like Ben Rothwell in all his awkwardness can outwork Andrei Arlovski, probably to the decision, but maybe he can get that little finish in there.
Odd on this one, Ben Rothwell quite a big favourite, 4-9, one of the biggest favourites on the card.
Wow.
And then Andre 13-8. This fight, I don't know, like they're kind of just two guys who are padding out that thin heavyweight division, aren't they? It's the handy lads for the UFC to have around, and we're like, okay, we're a bit stuck here, we'll fucking bang two of these heavyweights on the card, like, you know. So yeah, it's a grand fight.
It's a grand fight. I like it.
It's grand. Like, I'm not that
It's
excited
grand.
by it. I don't expect much fireworks in it. Andre's coming to the end of his career, obviously not getting finished. I think it'd take a lot for the UFC to cut these guys. They're filling out a thin division. I'll take Ben as well.
I wonder if Andre loses this one 4 in a trot.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It's hard to see even Ben making a run at a title now. It's unlikely.
It's very unlikely.
It's unlikely.
Yeah,
but
I do like Ben Rothwell.
Yeah,
I'll
take Ben as well in this one.
Yeah. Anything on the prelims that stick out to you?
Give me a quick look at the card here.
Bring it up there. I have a couple here that stick out. Alex Caceres and Steven Peterson. I like Alex Caceres. I know a lot of people don't, but I like the way he fights. I think he's fun. Again, he's one of those guys who he's never going to make a run for a title. A bit of a gatekeeper, like a lower level gatekeeper, but I think he's very fun to watch in there. Sam Alvey's on the card. We'll see how he gets on. He can be fun at times. Ray Borg as well.
Very low down the card.
Yeah, very low down the card. Crazy thing about Ray Borg, and I hope his son is okay, because he's had a lot of health problems. But man, Ray Borg, like since Demetrius Johnson, which feels like such a long time ago, he's only had one fight against Casey Kennedy, who isn't the best fighter in the world. He's good prospect, and he lost that one by decision. Didn't look great, and he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cancelled bouts between that, and a lot of it was to do with the issues I was having. But yeah,
we were saying earlier about professionalism and not being reliable and being able to turn up.
Yeah,
this is something that's totally beyond his control.
It is, yeah.
It's totally extenuating circumstances in this case. It's
but
not
he missed weight a lot of times as well.
He did, yeah.
But yeah.
But how much did the family start? It's just a shitty situation.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to slag Ray Borg.
No, definitely not. But yeah, against Gabriel Silva, so that's an interesting one. Yeah.
That's about it.
It's the main card is good. I like the main card.
It's solid.
I think you have 3 good fights in my opinion: the Arlovski, Rothwell, Trinaldo, Hernandez, and Vic and Hooker. And then you have Hardy and Olenek and Harris. That those fights kind of wedged in between a really good fight. So it's kind of it's laid out very strangely, but I like it. But let's move on to Educating Young Sean. This is where we give him a fight to review. He reviews it, and then we give him another one. So Sean, I gave you a fight last week.
Yeah.
It was a WEC fight from WEC 43, Cerrone versus Henderson, and it was that fight. It was the main event.
Yeah.
Donald Cerrone versus Benson Henderson. Their first fight of 3, I believe. What was your thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
it's fun, wasn't it?
Benson is a slick bastard.
Yeah,
he's so slick.
How did he not get armbarred?
Yeah, there was some of the submission attempts in that were deep. There was a guillotine as well that looked unbelievably deep. The armbar as well, he just rolled over it and gave his thumbs up to the ref. He's like, all good, bro.
Yeah.
The guillotine as well, he just thumbs up to the ref, all good. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I think the judges had it. The commentators didn't. The commentators were weird. They had it 2 all going into the 5th. I probably had Benson ahead. Yeah, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't surprised to see Benson get the decision. Cowboy looked good, but he couldn't get at Benson. Like, he's so smooth. I know that's his nickname, but he is so smooth and slick. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a good little. It was a bit of a war. So yeah, it was good.
It was a fun fight, and that's the thing I remember about that fight is, like, how the hell did he not get submitted in that?
No idea.
And one of the things I love about that is we saw Cerrone's ground game off his back, and you could kind of see why he was so dangerous there.
So
like
tough.
throwing up so many submissions. It was a really, really fun fight. What's your thoughts on WEC? Like, obviously you haven't seen too much of it, but it's kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
basically just, it's the same guys that are in the UFC, so it's not like you're going back to other organisations where you're like, who are these guys? I know a lot of the guys in it, or who were in it. So yeah, it's quite cool. Do you know, I actually didn't realise as well, I seen it somewhere today, I was reading an article, the UFC didn't have weight divisions below 155 until they absorbed WEC. Didn't know that. That was cool.
They like, for a long time they got rid of 155 for ages. There was a moment there, I think Sean Shirk, I could be wrong, but I think Sean Shirk tested positive for something. They basically got rid of it for a while. I could be wrong on that, maybe BJ Penn, but yeah, they got rid of it and they brought it back, but then they had nothing underneath that. And then basically when they brought all the guys over, the people who were champions at the time, which was Dominic Cruz and Jose Aldo, 125 didn't exist, they were given the titles, and they went from there. But yeah, they didn't have anybody.
Because you did have a lot of badass guys. Like you had Jose Aldo, Urijah Faber, Dominic Cruz, even Cowboy and Benson in 145. Like you had a lot of badass guys there to bring over as well. Yeah,
like I think 170 was the highest weight class that WEC had at a certain point, because when the UFC bought them, they kind of took their light heavyweights, they took their heavyweights, they took their middleweights, and just left kind of the lower level ones, or the lower weight class ones. But yeah, WEC was fun. I always found it fun, and they always had the small cage.
Yeah,
which is fun.
The cage seems so small.
It is. It's tiny. It's the UFC cracked that one out for some fight nights, I believe. That size cage.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's really good, especially when they're smaller guys, because it almost promotes action. You know.
Yeah, especially with bigger guys in the smaller cage or in a bigger cage. It's just, it doesn't really. Like make for a great fight. But yeah, I do like the smaller cage. It is noticeable as well how much smaller it is. So yeah, I like it.
I like the blue cage as well. Something about it. It's fun. So yeah, out of 5 championship rounds, what do you give that fight?
We give it a 4. Benson's a tough man. Tough man. Yeah,
fun fight. That's a 4. Cool. We'll move on, and I will give you a fight for next week. The fight is from UFC 68.
Oh.
It is a heavyweight fight.
Oh.
It is Randy Couture versus Tim Sylvia for the heavyweight title. What I would encourage for this fight is to watch the build-up. Hopefully the UFC and Fight Pass sometimes show it.
They do a lot of the time,
so hopefully for this fight they do show it. If not, give it a quick read on the build-up of this fight, because that kind of is important coming into this one.
Okay.
Essentially, Randy Couture is returning. And he's an older gentleman.
And was there some bad blood between them?
Not really bad blood. It was more to do with like Randy Couture at that stage of his career.
Okay.
Cool. Which kind of gives a background. But let's move on to Sean's weird news. Not educating young Sean. And we'll finish the show.
So first up this week, Rob, we have Will Fleury back again with the Spuds. So obviously he was fighting in America this week. He obviously indulged in some spuds after the fight.
But America don't do normal spuds.
He went a bit fancy on us. Went away from his roots.
Roots, I love that.
Went very fancy on us. The picture's on screen for everyone to look at.
What is that?
I don't know what that is.
It looks like nachos to me.
That's what I was thinking.
Is it nachos?
Why is there spuds with your nachos?
Is there even spuds in there? Or is he saying that the nachos are the spuds? I don't get it.
I am so confused. I need to get Will to clear this up for me. Next time we have him on, we clear this up. We'll be like, I wonder what the spuds are like in America compared to Ireland. Surely not as good.
If you watched our episode with Will Fleury not too long ago, 2 weeks ago I think it was, we interviewed him. He was having issues with his phone, so his phone basically went dead, and then we got him back on, but unfortunately it was technical issues. But Sean did actually get to ask him a question about the spuds. It was a brilliant answer. So you're just not going to get it. You missed out.
It's one for us only.
You're just keeping that for ourselves.
If you do want to know about Will and his spuds, do text him and he will slide into his DMs and he will respond.
Especially if it's about the spuds.
He loves talking about the spuds.
That sounds like a euphemism. He loves talking about the spuds. Sounds filthy.
Next up we have Artem Lobov. Did you see this?
I don't think I did.
So John Kavanagh.
I did see this actually.
John Kavanagh wants Brave to make Artem Lobov against Amir Khan, and I can't think of anything I would like to see less than this fight. Jesus.
You're very against these crossovers, aren't you?
Stinking.
Yeah. Do you know what confused me when I seen this? I am pretty sure there is a fighter that fights for Brave called Amir Khan, or it's like Khan Amir or something like that. So I was very confused. But then I was like, is it actually the boxer? It is the boxer.
It is actually the boxer. That is stinking. I do not want to see that. That should not be licensed.
No.
Amir Khan should not be allowed to fight MMA.
Is it MMA or boxing?
Brave.
No, I know it's Brave, but like, does he want them to put on a boxing match in Brave or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, if that's MMA, that's it.
Amir just fought some can in Saudi Arabia, for like 8 million. Yeah, literally I think some rich boy paid 8 million to bring the fight to his back garden, basically. He's like, I want to watch Amir fight.
It's a weird thing in boxing, they do that, don't they?
Isn't it? Yeah. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of this fight. I think
I'll
it
box
stinks.
for 8 million.
Yeah.
If you want me to box in your back garden, I'll do it.
Yeah, and I'll let someone kick me about for the 8 million as well.
Yeah.
So, next up we
No
have
interest.
Urijah Faber got a W at the weekend. A big
Spoke
W.
about that, yeah.
Call out Henry Cejudo. Weird call out. Weird call out.
Yeah.
You can see Triple C these nuts swinging over your face while you're laying on the canvas.
It's very un-Urijah Faber, isn't it? Like, yeah, very... It's talking about his chin. These nuts swinging over your face
You
while
can
you're lying on
Triple
the
C
canvas.
these nuts. I assume
His
he's
own chin, like, because he has a,
I assume he's talking about his own nuts
Yeah,
being
I assume
over
so.
Cejudo's face.
Yeah.
Not
Like, what I'm thinking, to give the benefit of the doubt to Urijah Faber, is that, he's going along with the cringe. So, he basically said the cringe is real, so now he's coming back with some cringe.
No,
It's
a no from me.
That's a no from me, dog. But look at this, 20,000 likes.
Yeah,
almost.
lots of likes. One of them was me because I thought, what the fuck.
Yeah,
But next up we have Ben Askren, who got fucked up last
he
week.
did. Yeah,
And he just tweeted, if I can't remember it, that means it didn't happen, right? To be fair to him, he's taken the loss like a champ.
he is. Scroll down there a little bit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Night. Could watch that all day.
Yeah, and again, not because I don't like Ben Askren, because I quite like Ben Askren.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
I like him. I think he's hilarious.
But 3-piece and a soda.
Yeah, man. Masvidal said he got the full buffet that
He
night.
did, yeah. Oh, he is taking it like a champ, though.
Yeah,
Ben
he has.
Askren. Well done.
Next up, PFL was on the weekend as well. PFL
Sure was.
4. So we have this knockout here. He got 6 points for the knockout. I don't know how their scoring system works.
Yeah, I'm not really
It's
sure.
odd, but this knockout is badass.
Oh,
He's still
counter
going.
left hook. Yeah.
Fucking Twitter videos, man.
This always happens with Twitter videos.
Jeez.
Same punch. Love it.
Ref let it go a bit
Love
as
it.
well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He has a big hematoma on his head as well.
Watch it again. We missed it.
John Doomsday Howard.
He's just sitting with his hands low and pew.
I was always a fan of the way Doomsday fought. Always was. Has some really good knockouts.
We'll watch it once more.
Yeah, look at that big hematoma on his head.
Yeah, it's big, innit?
Yeah. So for people listening, he dropped him with a left hook, and then again, there's a bit of a scramble, and then another left hook. Drops him, finishes it with a little bit of ground and pound, but that wasn't even needed. It was done.
Nah, it was done.
It was done.
Not the best
Great
stoppage
finish.
by the ref.
I'll be honest, there's a lot of MMA on, and I try to keep track of
There is,
as much as I
And
can.
it can be hard.
It can be very hard. PFL is one that I just cannot follow as much as I'd like to follow.
Who broadcasts? Is it the Zone?
It's on
in America?
NBC in America.
I assume nobody has the rights over here.
I don't think so.
Could
be wrong.
This is
Don't
my
think so.
favourite one this week now.
Okay.
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, right? Nice, all round nice guy. Yeah.
Hashtag dodgeball. All around nice guy.
All around nice guy.
Super nice guy.
Super Mr. America, clean image, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And here he is, being a flat track bully with some kids. Absolutely
Brilliant.
milling kids in dodgeball. Look at it.
Oh,
That first one is brilliant.
that first one was right to the gut. When you say,
Yeah.
boom, love it. That kid.
If you listen closely, he's like, got him.
Yeah.
I could watch this all day, man. It's just so un-Stephen Thompson.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Do you know what's fucking brilliant about Stephen Wonderboy Thompson?
What?
Is that like he runs this karate school. Like he's a badass UFC fighter.
Yeah.
And he runs this karate school where he runs a service to like go collect the kids, pick up the kids, bring them to the school, teach them, and fuck them up with dodgeballs apparently. But yeah, what a legend. But that was hilarious. Love that.
Yeah, that's all this week. But yeah, I
was a
could
good
watch
week.
that video of Stephen Thompson all day.
Yeah. Stephen Thompson should take up a new career in dodgeball, I believe.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a
yeah,
ball.
Love that movie. Patches O'Houlihan.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in this week. If you haven't already, give this video a like and click the subscribe button. We got a lot of subscribers over the last couple of weeks.
A lot of good feedback as well.
A lot of good feedback. So yeah, if you can subscribe if you haven't already, click the notification bell, because YouTube told me that like 15% of our audience have clicked the notification bell. So a lot of people aren't receiving notifications. So yeah, do that. And thanks, Sean. That was wonderful. Thanks
good.
for the weird news.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, great stuff. All the best. See ya.
So apparently if you press this button somewhere here, it subscribes and you get all the notifications for the show. So hit that button there.
You have to click the bell though to get the notifications
here.
down the bottom.
Make sure you hit it, and they get the ringer things, because Rob didn't know. So it's the button there or there.
It's somewhere roughly around